Are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls in Real Life podcast. I'm your host, Mariah Clayton. Happy Monday. Happy November. I hope you guys are all doing well with the time change. I don't even know how to start this episode off because everyone knows by the title of the video what we're talking about. But
You didn't have to put it in the title.
what am I supposed to put?
Surprise. I don't know. But just like don't tell them what the surprise is.
Everyone knows what the surprise is.
What's the surprise?
We're engaged. That's the surprise. I don't even know. Like, honestly, we've been engaged for a month now because it's November 4th and you proposed on October 4th. So it's literally been a full month. I didn't necessarily want to keep it a secret, but I just wanted to have a moment. Like, y'all know me. I like to have a photo shoot. I like to have a big announcement. I like to be iconic. And
Basically, she's extra.
Yes, I am extra. So I had to make sure that we had a photo shoot lined up, that I had a proper Instagram announcement and all the things. And we'll get into our engagement story a little bit later. But obviously, he did not have a videographer or a photographer when he proposed to me.
Not my style, but it worked out just fine.
Even though I told him that was the one thing.
But by the end of it, you were still happy. You were okay.
I did. I was. Okay. And it was fine. And after the fact, I did like that it was just us. Yeah. But still, I was like, I wish I had photos.
It would have been photoed if we would have went. There was a lot of circumstances at play. So
yeah. So I feel like there's going to be a lot that you revealed to me that I don't know about the whole process, because I'm going to make you start all the way from the beginning of
what's the beginning?
The inception.
Inception of what?
Of the thought of you wanting to propose to me.
Okay. The inception of the thought.
The process of you deciding when to do it, the ring, asking my parents.
Oh, going
all the
way
things.
back?
Yeah. Because those are things that I wasn't a part of. Yeah. And I didn't really know. And everybody else knew except for me, obviously. So yeah. So anyways, we're going to be talking about our engagement story today. I'm so excited. We already have a date. We already have a venue. So we're moving along really, really quickly, which is exciting. But I wanted to let you guys know because I did an episode a few weeks ago. I don't know if you listened to it, but it was the reality of being a wife to a boyfriend. And I was kind of talking about my experience of living with someone who I wasn't married to and having a child with them, and how difficult that's been for me to navigate it. And so many of you guys commented that you should just propose. What is he waiting on? Why are y'all waiting? There's no need to wait. And I was already engaged at that point in time. It had literally just happened. But we were already engaged at the time that video went up.
She let me get drugged for no reason.
I didn't let you get drugged, but I already knew that was the episode that was going to be up that week. And then I just wasn't expecting you to propose, so I still had to pretend
And
I
never know what you're gonna make an episode about, so I had no idea that was the episode you had queued up in the first place. But,
yeah. I mean, it was the episode that I wanted to do for a while, but it felt right for me to do it then. Yeah. So that's just kind of why I did it. But yeah, I had a bunch of comments and people were like, what is he waiting on? Meanwhile, we were already engaged. She wasn't waiting on anything. So yeah, that's pretty much what the episode is going to be about, just our engagement story. So babe, I'll let you kind of talk about the whole process of deciding when you were going to propose to me, and then what it was like talking to my family and all that stuff.
I mean, so it's kind of out of order. It's not following that order that you think of.
Okay, well, you tell it in whatever order.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, even the way you probably thought it went in your mind is not how it went. So
no, I don't know how anything went.
If you rewind probably about, I want to say over a year ago.
Really?
Yeah, over about a year. I want to say it's been over a year. No, maybe not over a year. But there was at some point of last year, I was taking Ace to school. So it was after we moved in this house. And we moved in this house the week after Ace's first birthday.
Yeah, in March.
And I want to say this might have been in April. I don't know.
Babe.
I'm going to have to cut all this out. You might honestly have to. Okay, I'm trying to think about the timeline of it all, but I know that Ace was going to school in summary. Okay. So I was taking him to school, which is like right around the corner from the house. We were living in our... Oh, yeah, this does fit the timeline. Okay, everything makes sense. I promise. I'm sorry. I'm screwing this all up. I'm trying to recap time, and I'm not good at recapping times. So it was before we moved into this house.
Okay.
Because I was still driving from our house in Shenandoah to here to drop Ace off in the morning. So it was probably like somewhere in February. And it was one day where I was doing it, but you were like still at home sleeping, and I went and took Ace to school. But like, it's a long drive from the old house to this house.
Yeah, it's
and
like
I had
30 minutes.
And I basically had dropped Ace off, and then like I sat in the parking lot for probably about an hour.
Oh, this was the day that I couldn't get a hold of you, that I kept trying to call you.
And you couldn't get a hold of me. Yeah, I was on the phone with my pastor at the time, and we were talking about like life and catching up, and just every single time I meet him, or anytime I like chat with him on the phone, it ends up becoming like a very like long and prophetic conversation, like where it's like he's telling me stuff and pouring into my life that I need to hear, but probably have been avoiding or probably not thinking about, or maybe thinking about really heavily and needing answers for. So at the time, like I had been thinking about like how stressed I am, and like I think I was having issues with my heart at the time too. So it was just like a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I started talking to him, and then basically we had like a long conversation about how like marriage is the unlock, and how, you know, the enemy seeks to steal, kill, and destroy the kingdom, essentially. And whenever he looks at us as a couple, he's like, okay, the easiest way to destroy me and destroy you is to divide our relationship. And in so many ways, I know you have been struggling with like the feeling of sin and like the decision that we made to, you know, have sex, have a baby, do all the things. But like I was battling my own thoughts about it too, because coming out of my past situation, and you know, how that was broken and destroyed for some of the same reasons that well, not the same reasons, but like I was afraid that, you know, history could repeat itself and this will fall apart, and whatever may have you will come of our relationship. And I was just like, man, like, I don't know, like marriage and all the things I had experienced in my life made me feel like it's just like marriage is just so crazy and so scary. And and he basically was like, nah, like I'm telling you, like it's the unlock. And he started telling me different stories of other people. And essentially he broke down at the end of the call, and he's like, son, I'm gonna tell you something I don't really tell people. And I'm like, what? And he's like, me and my wife, we had the same exact story as you and Mariah. He's like, we were together, got pregnant, and then got married. But like, he's like, you have to consider the fact that like this was a betrayal. Like he's like, you have to pray to God that one day she forgives you for it. And I'm like, what do you mean one day she forgives me, man? Like I'm all good. Everything's perfectly fine. Like, no worries. He's like, no. He's like, really? He's like, you have to pray for her trust back. And like, it made me think about it. And I was like, man, it's insane to think that like, oh, you lost trust for me in that situation. I know you didn't in a traditional sense, but but it did. Like it was a breach of trust in the sense that like you were building yourself back up. You were building up your life, and it was a betrayal of trust in myself and what I wanted to do with my own life. But you know, he pours into me and all these different things. And essentially, by the end of the call, like, I knew I wanted to get married to you. And like he just poured into me in a way where it's not like he convinced me to do it. Like in my spirit, I knew I wanted to be with you. I wanted to be your husband. I wanted to do the right thing. And we had a lot going on with buying the house and doing all the other stuff. But it's just like the conversation with him was really like confirmation that I need to step out on faith and really have it for once in my life. Like I think I really struggled with faith and just trusting that everything will work out as it's supposed to. And like our relationship has been nothing but like just having faith and nothing going as it's supposed to. So just trusting that it will work out. So yeah, I had a conversation with him, and like I didn't waste any time after that. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And I made a conscious decision in that moment. So I went and I called your dad, and I was like, hey, Mr. Clayton, are you up right now? Like I need to talk to you. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, like I really need to talk to you right now. But actually, he was already in the car and he was coming, so that's what it was.
Context about this day, y'all. Justin mentioned he had been having heart problems at a certain point in time in the story. And when I was calling him, he wasn't answering. And I called you like 10 times. And I'm sitting at the house by myself. I'm looking at his location. I'm like, he's just sitting in the parking lot at Ace's school. I don't know if he's brought Ace inside. I don't know if he's had a heart attack in the car. Like, my mind is just going to the worst.
And for what it's worth, like, I still to this day don't know how none of your phone calls got through to me.
I don't know. He was
it's like God made it to where you literally couldn't get a hold of
I don't know. But I called my parents because they live not far from Ace's school. So I made my dad get up and go check and see, like, is Justin in the car? Is Ace in the car? Like, what happened? So he was already on his way to the school. And then Justin ends up calling me back and telling me that he was like sitting in the car on the phone. And I'm, of course, going off. I was already driving this way. I'm like, I got to go save my son. I got to go save my man. Like, I don't know what's going on.
I was fine. So, yeah, at that point, I end up like I'm pulling out and I call your dad. And I actually see him. I'm like, oh, you're right here. I'm like, can you just go home and can I talk to you? And then he's like, yeah, that's fine. So I just followed him home and like to his house. And then I sat outside and I asked for his blessing to marry you. And I told him about, everything I experienced on the phone, talking to my pastor and everything like that. And he was like, yeah. He's like, no. I'm like, oh. It's like, all right. Like your dad, like, he was very soft spoken about it, but you could tell he was very prayerful and like and positive about it. He's like, okay. He's like, all right. And your family has accepted me so much into the family. So, but yeah, you talk about it like, okay, that was probably over a year ago now.
Yeah.
And so to everybody's question, like, what's the gap, Justin? Like, why are you taking so long? Well, like, one, we were buying a house.
Yes.
Two, I guess that was this year. It's not like a year, but.
Yeah, it was earlier this year.
Say earlier this year. So, but either way, everybody's saying, okay, like, what's the gap? What's taking so long? And it's like, we had a lot going on first and foremost. Like, buying this house was not a cheap expense. No. It definitely was not. And it honestly, it came out of nowhere, us even doing this. Like, I didn't have it on my sights to buy the house that soon, but we did have a conversation on, like, what was our plan? Like, what do we want to achieve for the year? And we said, we wanted to get a house in Zachary, close to family, with Ace going to a good school.
Don't be telling people where we live.
I mean, we live. People know where you're from. You can cut that part out if you got to. But anyways, it was a lot going on. We had to buy a house. Two, like, of course, got to secure the ring. And, like, that process in itself was pretty intricate, which I'll talk about. And then ultimately, I think we just had a lot to learn. Like, I think we did go through a period in our relationship where, not that we were unhappy or things were dark, but it was definitely, like, it didn't feel the same page all the time. Like, I think it was, like, a lot of us, like, trying to figure it out. Probably you still battling a lot of your internal feelings about, like, the sin that we were living in, the situation we're in, playing house, being on the same title, but not like being married officially. So probably a lot of those thoughts you're dealing with, as well as like just us continuing to learn each other. And whenever we first got pregnant with Ace, we both agreed that like, hey, this doesn't mean marriage. This means that like I love you. I know I want to be with you for the rest of my life, and I want to be attached to you. And like, of course, I want to get married to you one day, but we want to give each other the space and time to like make sure we get to know each other and we want to do it. Like, make a conscious decision, not because of what society tells you need to do whenever you get pregnant. Just doing it because, like, no, we want to make sure that we actually want this for ourselves. Because, like I said, I'm a product of, I've grown up seeing divorce, seeing everything split. Like, if I get married, I'm not trying to get divorced. Yeah. The same thing for you. I know you don't want that for yourself. So, yeah, just like it took that time. Like, and we had to continue getting to know each other, continue to pray. I think the moment where I knew it was like, okay, it's time to do it. Like, it's ready to happen. And I knew I was ready. Like, okay, finish getting the ring, do everything I got to do. We were laying in bed and we were having one of those hard moments, one of those hard conversations. It was like just difficult, couldn't get on the same page. And I'm just like, man, like, what the hell is it? Like, we were talking about like how I feel like there could be like a lack of respect at times, and how I feel like you're not trying to step forward in partnership with me and like really step forward into community with me. Like a lot of different things that we talked about in the room. And then like, you break down, you start crying a bit, and then you almost verbatim say what my pastor mentor told me in the car about the betrayal, the trust thing being broken. Like, you almost said verbatim what he said. And you had no idea I had that conversation with him. You had no idea, but you recited the feelings that he said that you had that marriage would remedy. Yeah. And I was like, at that moment, I think you said that in the conversation, I completely switched up, and I was like, you're right. I'm sorry. Like, I love you. And I just like, I think I asked for I don't know, forgiveness, but we just got on the same page. It was like, we just kind of got sober by it, and like everything changed. But you didn't know at that time that like, I'm over there shaking and freaking out because I'm like, why the hell did she just say the exact same thing this dude said? Like, how does this happen? And but
I think I told you in that conversation too about the whole like respect, and even I think you said the word submission, like submit to you. I was like, I cannot flip that switch in my brain because I know that I'm not your wife. I know that I'm not like, we're not on that level. So like for me, it was very difficult to like be submissive and be respectful and have all of these like, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it, but just like be the woman that I know I'm supposed to be to a husband, because I was like, well, this man is not my husband. So it was like that internal battle that I was feeling like, okay, we're doing all the things that married couples do, but like I know that we're not married, and so it's difficult for me to like flip that switch on and just fully submit to you in that way.
Yeah, I mean, and like submissiveness is like a word that I think that some men abuse, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't really believe in submissiveness for those listening, like in the traditional terms. Like I don't view it that way. Put it this way, like I yield to you as I would love for you to submit to me, meaning that like I give and I show and I submit to you the same way I would like for you to submit to me. So the dilemma that I was toying with before this conversation and before really letting God interfere in our relationship was like I'm doing all the things, like okay, I'm buying the house, I'm taking care of the family, anything you want you get. You know, I'm making sure food's on the table. I'm cooking dinner every night. Like I do my duties with ace. Like I'm showing up in every way I could possibly show up. And to me, I'm like, that warrants the respect.
Yeah.
But once again, like if it's coming from man, if it's coming from me, then like that's not rooted in the right place. Which is why I couldn't see it until you said what you said, and I was like, oh wow, like God can't exist in this.
Yeah.
Like he can't exist in the version that I have this relationship sitting in. Because if I continue to ask and want you to submit by way that I want you to submit to me, then it's not going to work. But really what I needed to understand was that it's really about you submitting to God, and by nature you would submit to me. Like it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And the same thing for me. In order for me to properly serve you, and I need to continue working on this, like I need to properly submit to him. That way he'll reward our relationship and honor it the way that we want it to. And I think that this was the first crucial step, and our relationship continues to go from there. But yeah, I mean, that's the pre-engagement story, so to speak.
You didn't talk about the ring.
Yeah, so that's the next phase of it. So at that point, like I knew it was time to get rolling. So began the multi-month process of trying to find the right ring and try and build the right ring, so to speak. So took a lot of FaceTime calls with Shelby. Never not once brought Shelby
Shelby
physically.
is my sister for my newbies.
Yeah, so took a lot of FaceTime calls with her. And for the newbies, so to speak, or even people that know Shelby, she's not easy to track down. She don't answer the phone for nothing. Like,
she don't.
She never answers the phone. I'm over here like, man, damn, like I can't get a hold of you. Like Shelby would never answer the phone whenever I needed to. Sometimes she would though, and I was able to take a couple pictures. And like from day one, so your ring is like has like a custom band, and then like really it was about finding the band that I just really loved a lot, and then getting the right stone.
Yeah. So
the band point was like that was already locked and loaded. Like I already knew which band it was. Me and Shelby both agreed from the moment that we looked at it. And like I sent her the picture. We always were saying like that ring is called number one. Like so we always call number one in the sense that we just named it number one because it was the first ring that I sent her. And we always kept going back to it. So it's been like, so the number one ring, we always go back to that one, despite me finding other custom bands, other different things that looked really nice.
Yeah.
But we always end up going back to that one. So I was like, man, to hell with it. It's going to be that one. The big dilemma became the diamond and like finding the right diamond.
Tell them what I wanted at first.
What you mean?
Tell them what I wanted my diamond to be.
Pink. This woman wanted a pink diamond. She's never seen the movie Blood Diamond, obviously.
I have not.
She has no idea that diamonds, like if you want a pink diamond, that's $1 million diamond. Like you're not getting that. And I don't know what kind of money she thought I had, but I'm not a millionaire.
And even if I wanted a pink ring.
But also like I don't know, like because you could have gotten that, but I just kept on thinking about like timelessness, and I'm like, what's gonna actually look timeless, and like what's gonna be something that you're always gonna like. For instance, you don't want to be 40 rocking a pink ring, and everybody gonna be like, "Oh, you like that?" She's like, "Yeah, well, I like pink when I was 28." Like, no, you want something that's gonna be timeless. And
I mean, I would like pink forever. I'm sure you will. You're right.
I'm sure you will. Yeah. But looking at it every day, you'll be like, "All right, maybe what if it was a little bit different?"
Yeah.
So yeah, she wanted a blood diamond, and not happening. I ain't got blood diamond money. No, so that wasn't gonna work out. Another thing, like getting a ring that you like was very hard because if y'all don't know, Mariah's very bad at answering questions.
I'm just indecisive.
Very, very indecisive, and like she doesn't understand like that if I'm asking questions, it's probably for a reason. So like I'm asking her like, hey, have you given any thought to like, wedding rings? Have you given any thought to like how you want me to get engaged?
But I did make a Pinterest board and I did show you.
I still don't think that she showed me that Pinterest board. I never seen that.
Yes, I did.
For the wedding ring?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that the only thing I had to base off of what you wanted was, I think we went to a ring store one time and you tried on a couple of different ones.
Yeah.
And
but I made the Pinterest board, and after I made the Pinterest board, I told you I wanted an oval cut. That's how I decided that I wanted an oval, because I showed you pictures of rings that I wanted.
Yeah, so, well, you got an oval cut. But yeah, so I guess it took a while to get to that point where I just knew exactly what you wanted. And I was like, all right, I know she wants a oval cut diamond. So finding the right diamond was hard too, because like different sizes, different prices. Not all diamonds are created equal in the sense of like color, clarity, all the different things they tell you about when you're buying a diamond. So I wanted something that was like virtually colorless, like one of the highest grades, gorgeous, and then I wanted some size to it. Like I wanted it to be a bit like, all right, like he flexed hard on that one. So that's what it did, but they didn't have any there, so they had to order your ring from Cordova, Tennessee. And it took a while for your ring, but they had to order your diamond from Cordova, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I didn't make it until, probably took about 2 weeks to get here. So the diamond was sitting there for a while, and we knew the band was going to be that. Then multiple conversations were going back and forth on if we're going to get the band number 1, as we keep on referring to it, or if we're going to get like a rose gold. And like that was a big conversation too.
Yeah.
And then white gold. And then I texted you, I was like, what would you prefer between these three? And you were like, not white gold. What is that? I'm like, it basically looks silver. And she's like, no. So I was like, all right, that's off the table completely. But then it's between rose gold and gold, and making sure, because that's gold. So I'm like, if she wants rose gold and she wants to still have that pink dream, then that's how we make it happen. Santa has prevailed. We went forward with gold based on what you told me. And you end up getting band number 1. And then the diamond that I had ordered from Tennessee came together, and they put it together, and the rest is history. It was pretty fast once the diamond made it here. It's pretty quick.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. I don't even know if y'all can see it on camera, but
I'm sure it'll be in Instagram. Y'all can look there.
Yeah, it's definitely on Instagram by now.
There you go. So yeah, it's a gorgeous ring. So that happened, and then after that, it was all about the engagement.
Yeah.
Like figuring out how to do it.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, so the how to do it part was hard, very difficult. Because you were prescriptive about that. Like you already said, you wanted to have your nails done. You wanted to
What girl doesn't want to have their nails done?
Oh, you actually. Because
Wait, we're not at that part of the story yet.
We're going to get to you. So yeah, you want to have your nails done. You wanted it to be just us, no family.
Yes, because I have a very big family, y'all. I did not want my family.
You didn't even want to celebrate with them afterwards. You wanted to just be us afterwards. You wanted to have photo and video there if possible. And I'm just like trying to make all these things happen. And granted, it's not that you're super snobby about it and like it's that difficult to do. But for what I was planning to do, it was that difficult. So
what was the initial plan?
What I did, but just not exact. It didn't happen exactly like I wanted it to. So anyways, I start concepting this plan on how I'm going to do it, which was like a pretty down to the wire experience. So I'll just go through the run-up show and everything that went down, and I'll come back to the plan. And I'll just tell you all right now how we got engaged. So it starts off with, well, one, in our relationship, I'm very like thoughtful, and I do a lot of things to pamper you. I think like, if you want to get your nails done, I'll take care of that. Massages, we've gotten massages before. Yeah. You've gotten me facials. Like I pamper you, you pamper me. I think we both kind of do a good job of like getting away, but I think post ACE we haven't really done it as much.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of days off because I'm terrible at taking off at work, and so it's nothing out of the ordinary for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna take off a half day because we have half day Fridays. So I was like, I'll just take off the full Friday, and I was like, okay, babe, we gonna have like a pamper day. We gonna take care of ourselves. Ace will be at school. We just gonna do all the things. And you're like, all right, cool. So I was like, we're going to get our nails done. We're going to get massages. If we feel like getting facials, we'll get facials. We're going to do all of that. Just really take care of ourselves and relax for a day. It's been a crazy year. We owe it to ourselves. Well, I got the massages booked. That was taken care of. And that was going to be the first part of the day. So we went to our massages, and that was cool. In planning for the nail part, though, so I tried to ask Mariah, I was like, what do you want to do for your nails? Like, what? I don't know all the terms. I just know, like, getting your nails done. I don't know acrylic, crystal gel, all the different
crystal
things.
Gel.
I don't know. I seen videos, but I don't know how it go. Okay. So anyways, I know that you need to get your nails done, and so I'm like trying to plan it out, and I'm like, hey, what do you get on your fingernails? Like, what type of stuff? And I think you told me you like acrylics.
Get a full set.
That.
I told you I get a full set.
Didn't know what a full set mean either. But anyway, so you told me you get a full set. So I'm like, all right, cool. And you were like, but no, I don't want to do that. Just let me get my toes done. I'm like, no, like you getting your fingers done too. And you like, no, I'm not. I'm like, she's like, it's gonna take too long. I'm like, I don't care. Like you getting it done.
Because you were only getting a pedicure, so I was gonna feel bad when I'm sitting there getting my nails done. And it's gonna take an additional hour at minimum, probably hour and a half, and you're just sitting there in the nail salon with me after your pedicure is already done. Like I was like, let's just leave together and like get our toes done, and that's it.
Whatever. So saying her heads prevailed, and I made sure that she got her nails done.
He was like, I already told them you were going to get your nails done, so just go ahead and do it. And I
called him and I told the dude, I was like, yo, it's a surprise. So like, don't put her name on file, and like we'll just get there and you gonna do her nails. So we get there, he's like, surprise.
Like literally the first thing he says when we walk in is surprise. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, and he's like, does she know about the surprise? And I'm like, what you mean the surprise? Like I'm over like, shut up. Like he didn't know anything else was happening.
No,
he
had no idea.
But he just like, I was just like, let's not hype up the day even more though. Like we got plenty enough hype. So anyways, I learned very well what a full set means that day. Because I sat there for an hour and a half, sure enough, and they took their time getting your nails done. It looked pretty, but I was in that thing for a minute. No problems, though. They're really great over there. So you finish that up. So at this point, full massage, nails done. You got to go get some Chick-fil-A. So we stopped off at Chick-fil-A, and then we went home. And we just enjoyed, like, time to ourselves. Like, we sat right here on the couch, watched TV, just us, which, like, nowadays we don't get to do with Ace.
Yeah.
Because he tells us what we can and can't do when it comes to the TV.
It's Bluey or Mickey Mouse.
always. So now we just enjoy watching TV. And then I don't know at what point in the day I surprised you by letting you know that we didn't have to pick up Ace, that your parents were getting him.
You actually told me that morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You said that my parents were going to pick him up and that he was going to spend the night over there. And I was like, no, he's not.
Right. So that's a big audible in the story. So like she kept it very interesting because she likes having Ace at home.
No clue what was going on. So I'm like, why can't he come back home?
Yeah. So like the plan was for Ace to stay at her parents' house, but that didn't happen because she's like, maybe it's just better if like the twins come watch him over at the house and like they'll put him down and we just go to dinner. And I was like, all right, that's fine. So I ended up calling him and I'm like, yo, y'all audible. I know y'all got Ace and y'all were going to watch him over there. Just come bring him over here. The twins, they know his nighttime routine. They can put him down. We have dinner at 7, and at that point, I'm trying to jumble everything around. So also, the whole day, like, I had been fighting myself doing it. Like, delaying it that long was very, very hard. Like, getting down on a knee and getting engaged. Because, like, there's so many points in the day where I probably could have done it.
Yeah.
But, like, it was just, like, the suspense of it. And I did like the idea of, like, the suspense behind it. And maybe you thinking at some point that I would do it, but me not doing it, but me doing it.
I didn't think that at all. At any point.
Because, like I said, it's pretty standard for us to go out and pamper ourselves. But, so they come here, they take care of Ace, and me and you get dressed for dinner. We both look good. I remember we were sitting right over there, and like you run upstairs to go do something with Ace, and the twins are just looking at me like all excited.
The twins are my sisters, by the way. I have twin sisters.
So I run in, I grab the ring, which had been in the house for months, hidden on top of the kitchen cabinets. So I show it to them, and they're like, oh, she gonna like it. She gonna like it. She gonna like it. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm glad she's gonna like it. I'm like, but y'all can't say nothing. And I was like, and when we get back here, I need y'all to run out the house and leave quick. So I told them that, and they were like, no, we got you. And I'm like, all right, cool. So at that point, we go to dinner and went to Ruth's Chris, which is like her favorite. So we got steaks and crab cakes and calamari and all the things. Palms starting to get sweaty, getting nervous. I'm like, all right.
The waiter was like, are we celebrating anything special?
Not a thing. I kept on calling it Just Cuz Day. I kept on saying it's a Just Cuz Day, which apparently it sounds like people in the community need to be having more Just Cuz Days with their partners because everybody's like, a Just Cuz Day? That's nice. I never heard that. I'm like, just cuz. Like, just doing it just because you feel like it. Taking people on dates. Anyways, so at that point, I'm like, all right, let's go home. Like, we finish up dinner. We go home, and, like, I gave everybody a heads up when I was on the way. I was like, hey, we'll be there in this amount of time. Like, y'all be ready to roll. So we get here and like her dad had came in the house. The twins are in here too. They're literally standing right behind us at the door, like ready to beeline out of here.
And I'm looking, I'm like, why are they just standing by the door? Like they're ready to leave. Yeah. And as soon as we walk in the house, I was like, where are y'all trying to go so fast?
They was ready to roll, boy. They was ready to roll. So
my daddy was like, well, they got cross country in the morning and they got basketball tomorrow, so we got to go. I was like, okay.
Which honestly, it probably was him being honest, because like I don't think that
that is true.
I didn't tell him that like I needed them to beeline out of here, and I asked him like, did y'all tell him to try to join? He's like, no, he was just standing up by the door ready to go, and I'm like, all right, well, and they were like, he told him that was suspicious. Anyways, so brief step back, which I know I'm doing a lot because it's all intertwined. Y'all are probably wondering like, oh, it's still like, where's the photographer and all of this? No photographer involved, because like we're not making it back home till 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Photographers ain't just gonna sit around at 9 o'clock at night to take no pictures. So like
inside of our house.
And on top of that, like after we get engaged, I ain't trying to be like waiting to be like, okay, thank you, Mr. Photographer. Please leave. Like I just kind of want to be just us. So I was like, timing wise, it just didn't work out. So just take that out of the story. The plan was, and what I told Mariah on the way home was, is like, Mariah, we got a projector. I really want to set it up in the backyard. And she's like, the projector? Like, why do you want to set up the projector? Like, what you trying to do? And I'm like, I just want to watch like a movie on it or something like that. And like Mariah just once again like dissenting and throwing wrenches in it. Like she's just not trying to go with it at all. And I'm like, look, okay, when we get home, like don't get out of your dress. Like I know how you are. Like just help me put up the other projector first. She's like, okay. Well, on the way home, it starts raining, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Crap, this is not gonna work.
I still don't know where you was gonna put that projector at.
Right there in the middle of the courtyard. So I was like, damn, it's raining. I can't do this outside if it's raining. And I was like, okay, I gotta make an adjustment. It's like we make it in the house, the twins leave. The plan was to load the projector, and y'all gonna hear now kind of what I did with it, but basically load the projector, play something, get down on a knee outside, have my phone propped up somewhere recording all of it, and then everything will be recorded, and then we'll have that moment outside in the courtyard, which is beautiful. No, rain happens. So at that point, I start fiddling with, like we make it into the house, I start fiddling with the projector.
And I'm like, in the kitchen because I'm not really trying to help.
And I'm trying to think about all of it, but I'm like, this is not going to work. So I just come over here by the TV, and I'm like, Mariah, like, I think the twins broke the TV. And you're like, what? And like, you come over here. I'm like, something's wrong with the TV. Like, what's this? And I start playing a video. And basically, I had worked with Phil Roberts, an executive producer and director at our agency, 368. He has his own in-house film studio for 368 called Aisle 3. He produced a video with me where basically I cut together everything from the beginning of me and Mariah's relationship via photo and video all the way till now. So I that's another thing that Mariah was in the middle of too. So Mariah has a lot more like content on her phone. And I was like, Mariah, this is probably weeks before that. I'm like, Mariah, I need you to put all of that on a shared folder and share it with me. And you're like, okay. A week passed, Mariah don't do it. I'm like, bro, you holding me up in what I got planned.
Number one, I forget now because, my brain doesn't work the same anymore. And then number two, I don't think you realize how much time it actually takes to like add stuff to a shared folder. Everything has to like download from the cloud and like upload, and it takes a long time.
It can take a long time on E2. I needed it.
Okay, but you got it, right?
I got it. I did get it. So I finally got it, and over the previous weeks, I was making a video with Phil. And I narrated our full relationship from beginning to end, like all the crazy stuff. It's a long video. It's a great video, but
I'll probably post it on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if everybody. Oh yeah, if you feel like it. Either way, it's a long, beautiful video where I narrate our relationship, and basically, like I put my audio on it the day before we got engaged, and Phil sent it back to me, and I didn't listen to it intentionally. Like I didn't want to hear the video before, I want to hear it for the first time with you. Yeah. So I play the video, and like we're standing right behind this couch, and like we both start bawling, crying. Like it just like it's crazy. We just start tearing up a lot, watching it all and recapping the story and going through all of it. And then like towards the later phase in the video, it's like the last segment, because it's really broken down into 3 phases. Like it's pre-baby, pre-pregnancy, then like post-pregnancy with Ace, and then like I'll just call the last phase like what's next, because that's kind of how I started off. And then at what's next phase, I basically say like, hey, by this point in the video, I'm sure you know what's happening, and like you start like really crying. I'll walk up there and I get the ring. And like the video finishes, and I basically get down on a knee right there behind this couch. Yeah. Not picturesque, not anything, no phones, no recordings.
Yeah.
And get down on a knee, and I speak. I don't even know what I said. I probably was
honestly
nervous.
I blacked out.
I was nervous as hell, so I don't really know what I said, but I know it's something along the lines of like, I know you're the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, and how proud I was of you for everything that we've been through, and I don't know, just a lot of stuff I'm sure I said. I can't remember all of it, but. Yeah, got down on a knee and then did it right there, and we both just cried to each other for a while, and then
it was a really nice moment. The whole entire day I didn't think anything up until I saw the video playing, and that's when I knew. I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. And I was so caught off guard, because we've talked about being married and like getting engaged, but we always said like, oh, within the next year, or
the whole week of I was baiting you two and like saying, I think at the dinner table I was like, so when is like a healthy time to be engaged? Like probably the next 2 years. And you were like,
I was like, 2 years. I was like, maybe next year.
I want to be engaged within the next year. And I'm like, all right. And I just kept on doing that because I wanted to make sure it was like far from your mind if I could.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kept on baiting you the wrong way with it too. But yeah, my goal was to give you the feeling of like, even if you thought it would have happened, you would have been like, oh damn, like I thought he would have done it earlier in the day, or like maybe if today was the day we were gonna get engaged, maybe he would have done it at dinner, and like, but you never had a thought about any of it. So we just, I did it here, and it worked out perfect. And after that, I think we stood up together. I held you. We prayed. Then started making calls and having people pray over us too.
Yeah. Speaking of calls, who's calling me? It's my mom. So yeah, like I said, I literally had no idea, and honestly, I think every girl kind of envisions like what they think their engagement is going to feel like and how they think they're going to react or feel. But it's one thing to like talk about marriage and to like talk about getting engaged, but it's another thing to like actually see you down on a knee in front of me and just like so vulnerable, I guess, because it's like a very vulnerable position for you. Like you're pouring your heart out to me, and I don't like, I always knew that I would cry, but I didn't know that I would feel just like this overwhelming sense of like, I don't even know how to say it. It's almost like all the femininity left my body, if I can put it that way. Because when we first got together, my thoughts on marriage were kind of like, I don't want to take a man's last name. Like I don't want to, like I just had I don't want to say negative thoughts of marriage, but in some way it was kind of like, I'm woman, like hear me roar type of thing. And I think like seeing you be so vulnerable and like pouring your heart out to me, and like seeing how much intentionality was like behind everything that you did, and then seeing the ring and just like everything, it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like I would do anything for this man. Like I would give him everything he asks for, because he's literally given everything to me. And in that moment it just kind of clicked of like, this is why women are like so obsessed with their husbands, because you see them in their most vulnerable positions. You see them like pouring their heart out to you, and it's like you're the only person that gets to see that version of them. And so I don't know, it was just really, really special. And yeah, I definitely cried a lot.
Yeah, we both did. It was emotional in the best way though. But yeah, I mean, it felt great. The days after felt great too.
Yeah. It was nice to just kind of like soak it in. Like we did it on a Friday. We had time to just kind of like soak it in over the weekend. Our family and friends came over the next day. Justin had made some gumbo. You made gumbo?
I think. Yeah.
And everybody just came. We got in a big prayer circle and like prayed over us. And yeah, it's been nice to be in like our own little bubble. Obviously telling people in person, like when they see the ring, like,
will tell you.
Yeah. But I think for me, just like, yes, I wanted to have the photo shoot, and yes, I wanted to have the big announcement, but also just like having that time with just us and like getting things solidified and like actually focusing on the wedding and moving forward instead of just like bringing it to social media straight ahead, I think was like really nice, because it was more about just us and not like bringing everybody in,
Yeah, like I like how afterwards we just kind of got straight to like next steps, doing all the things.
Yeah. He said, I did my part. It's your turn. So I am like into full wedding planning mode. We got our guest list. We have our venue. We have our date. We kind of have our colors. We're still going back and forth on the color thing, but I'm going to go wedding dress shopping soon. Like everything's like happening so fast. So
wedding soon. It's going to be before everybody knows it. So
I know. I mean, I guess we can tell them the wedding date.
It's going to be in March.
Yeah.
Y'all see when it happens.
Our wedding date is in March. So
I ain't trying nobody to be like just lurking for it. Like, all right. Because if you don't get that invitation, I'm sorry. We love you, but not everybody get an invitation.
Weddings are so expensive. We found that out so quick. We went to go look at a venue in a city near us, and it was like $8,000 for a Saturday.
That's before everything else. That's like
before
just to get the spot.
Anything else. And this is like a brand new venue. Like,
it's gorgeous.
It's really pretty, but I'm like, I'm not about to spend.
Oh my Lord. The point of marriage is to like set yourself up for financial success and move forward good, not go broke. So it's like, that's the biggest thing. And, you know, we have like family circumstances around like how much we're getting and what we could do with that money. We've had a lot of talks about it too. So it was even the conversation of, would we have a big wedding?
Yeah, we thought about not having a wedding too.
But I mean, as I saw everything taking shape, and Nana and Shelby made it very clear, like, y'all getting married. Like, y'all having a wedding.
We need to have a wedding.
They made it very clear.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to have that experience, but I also saw the benefit of just, like, taking the money and running.
Building something with it. There goes Ace crying.
I know.
But he'll be all right for a second. But nonetheless, yeah, like, I saw how you were also, like, lighting up whenever we started talking about weddings and what's next and stuff like that. And I was like, this girl deserves a wedding, so.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go get him, and then we'll finish up.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we have a visitor. AC just woke up from his nap. He didn't sleep for very long, but...
Now y'all know why it's so profound that we were able to get a day away to get engaged.
Yeah. I guess the last thing that we'll talk about since he woke up, there are some women, and this is kind of what I talked about in the being a wife to a boyfriend episode, but like there are some women who like give all of themselves away to a man in hopes that they would be like, I want to make you my wife. But you also have men who get so complacent in that.
And just don't do it and drag it out.
And just don't do it. So
stop filming with that, buddy.
Don't do that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, how should a woman know that like a man is serious about her and is serious about like being intentional and taking those next steps?
Like, I don't think that men view things linearly, like in the sense of, okay, we've been together this amount of time, so I'm going to get married to you now. Like, it really is a matter of whenever a man's ready. And I think that it's like whenever they're in alignment with themselves and with God. I think for me, that was the big thing that unlocked it with you, was that I felt like it would be in alignment with God to, Ace is saying ear. It would be in alignment with myself and God to do this. Like, I was ready, and I knew it was also what God wanted for us and for our relationship. So it was just, I think there's signs that come from outside of a man that just even tell you like, hey, it's time to do it. Like, you know, you're ready. I mean, even if you're not ready, you can get ready. I mean, God just has a really big part in it, I think, in my opinion. Like, if it's up to a man, they probably will always battle temptation, battle different things in their mind, doubt, especially just given their own life experiences. If a man's like observed divorce, been a product of divorce, has had problems with infidelity, I think it drags it out even more. Commitment is like a scary thing to a lot of men, and it's sad to say it, but like it just, I think a lot of men struggle with commitment, whether it be because of things they've seen or things that they went through themselves. But eventually you get to a point where you are ready to be vulnerable. You are ready to be vulnerable to God and the person that you're with, and you're also mature and self-aware enough to know that like, hey, this is the right time to step forward in this season. I also think that like if you cling towards, as a woman, if you cling towards marriage and like marriage is the thing, one thing about you never made it to where it was like pressure on me to get engaged. You made it clear that you wanted it, and that was all I needed. It was like, hey, I know she wants the same future that I do, but you never pressured me to do it. And I do disagree with like women putting pressure on men because they feel that. Like, and ultimately, if the decision at any point comes about like she's making me do it, well, one, you're not setting it up for an environment where it's going to be filled with like love and sustenance. It's going to be like a forced situation. Instead of him making the decision himself to do this, like, this is what I want for my life and my family and my relationship with God and my partner. Because if you make it about like, you know, oh, I want this at this time, then they're not going to want to kind of do it. It's going to be like and then I think the outlook of those relationships aren't really great all the time. So Yeah, I mean, that's the only way I can answer that. I can't speak for every individual person. I'll say that us as men, we deal with a lot of struggles, a lot of temptations, and a lot of different thoughts about what will and won't become of our future, and we feel like we have so much power over it. But the act of getting engaged is being vulnerable with yourself and with God and with your partner, and knowing that it'll work out the way it's supposed to. So
yeah, that was a good answer, baby.
Okay.
Hands. Come here. Do you want to come say something in the microphone? You want to come talk?
Yeah, come on.
Come see.
Say hello, everybody.
Say hello.
Stop being shy.
Okay, guys, this has become insane to deal with, as y'all can see. This has definitely become the A show, but that's pretty much our engagement story in a nutshell. We're really excited about like this new chapter, this new journey, this new era. I'm ready to be a wife. I'm ready to be married to this man right here. Thank you, baby, for coming on the show and telling us all the things.
Happy to be here with y'all. Hopefully I made sense with all the stuff I said.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the podcast before you leave. Leave us a nice little comment, a review, a 5-star rating.
Money for the wedding.
Money for the wedding would be nice. I'll put the Cash App below, the GoFundMe below. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great Monday, a great week, and I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye. Say bye, Ace.